we're given the substance needed to stay on that. Hey, I'm Steph Andrea. Welcome to Wild Seed Yoga YouTube channel. I am Steph Andrea, certified yoga teacher, and today we're going to talk about what it's like to process change, considering your integrity and appearances. So change, integrity, appearances, a little bit of LOC talk. So stay tuned if that sounds good to you. I have had my locks for about 5 years, almost exactly, a little over 5 years, and I am at the point of removing them. I am not going to cut them. I'm going to remove them by hand, one by one. And thanks to YouTube, I know it can happen, and I've started. But after I started, I recoiled a little bit, had to kind of hype myself back up, talk to myself about like what the change meant, and yeah, that's why I'm gonna go ahead and process it here. And one of the things I'm gonna use as a disclaimer when doing these types of videos, this is my first one, is just to emphasize that I'm not giving advice. I'm just sharing my experiences and processing things openly. I'd love your feedback in the comments, or you can reach out to me directly. So to get into the first topic, first concept, integrity. So this question lately that I've been having is, what is true about you no matter where you are, what you look like? And it could be that these things are always outwardly obvious, or known to be true, or, attached to your experience so far. Or they could be internal things, and maybe things that are only known to you. So considering that, I turned again to my locks, and I feel like these have taught me so much about that question, right? Moving from creating them, deciding to create them myself, did the 2-strand twist, semi-freeform, and started with a tapered cut. So moving from a very short hairstyle that was in a way neat by default, more often than not, and then allowing it to be what it needed to be in the beginning, these short twists going every which way, and answering a lot of questions, and having days where like, where's the hat, where's the headscarf, like I'm not today, and feeling a little insecure about it, and then learning to drop that and realize that it's just hair, it changes every single day. And in those early days, realizing that like the intention was more than the appearance at the time, and being cool with that. So I worked through that period, get a little bit of hang time, and get more and more comfortable. And I think for me, with that comfortability came I appreciated my locks as they were, but with where my head was at, I wasn't consciously nurturing them as much as I could. There were times when I just fell off due to the seasons of life, and like that's just how things go, right? Constantly shifting, and then we put the work in to build habits, to be consistent in areas. It doesn't just like fall into place, right? the variables are always there. It's how we handle them, and that's where we get back to that. What is the unchanging? Like, what is the root? What is the core that, you know, moves through all these different seasons and appearances and interactions? So with those questions about integrity, with considering the changes in like the locs themselves, I then kind of reached a time where, like, no matter what they looked like, because I did my semi-freeform thing, and I do, and it'll be, you know, several months between retwists, and I do find that is healthy for the hair in certain ways, fundamental ways, and it gets into kind of the politics of presentability and conforming, and, you know, where you are asserting your identity and the way you choose to present yourself, and then I think, you know, there's a history of there being perceptions of the significance of locs depending on the community that you're in, right? So that's just to avoid, like, going into the depths or, like, skating, like, making too much of a generalization. So just talking about conceptually, right? Hair, black hair, has its ongoing conversations and processing as a collective. So taking that into consideration, I feel like the presentation of my locs, the choice that I made and adhered to for the longest, like, fits the nature of my spirit. And with the nature of my spirit, I have to reinforce to myself and through my actions that it needs to radiate from me no matter what I look like, where I am, who I'm with. It's a reminder not to rely on appearances to convey your meaning. At the same time, accepting the opportunities to express ourselves, to connect with a bigger picture, or to pay homage to, you know, the vision we have for ourselves. This is where I want it to be. You understand? It's like what the short phase or whatever is that's the promise on the other side, right? Is some hang time, and my locs come now to, you know, my collarbone, and though they are healthy and I wanted to bring them back, maybe I've looked into different ways of doing that. I think at the end of the day, it does come down to what I have learned, what I can apply, and what is true no matter what you look like, with that integrity beyond appearance, the integrity that goes through change and grows and builds upon your core in ways that can be seen and unseen, that will be understood and really don't need to be. There's freedom and responsibility in acknowledging the way that we are connected to the visions we have for ourselves, higher calling, and to pursue, right? And I need to remember that, to pursue the duty we have to move through our journey, whether that requires, rest or support or challenges, obstacles, new navigation. And I do want to emphasize the concept of change being nonlinear, being multidimensional, and allow the space for processing that, for appreciating what it looks like to be with another set of locs or with none at all or whatever, appreciating that I will have something to be grateful for no matter what, and obstacles may come along no matter what. There may be insecurities to work through no matter what, and I have the wherewithal. We're given the substance needed to stay on that, to continue and stay processing through any of those that may come up, any of those insecurities or obstacles, doubts, which definitely with the pause, that came up for me. So I would like to go ahead and wrap this up, and I will wrap it up with this excerpt from my journal from earlier this month. I believe I am blessed and called to build a life of meaning, not grand or lavish necessarily, but it is good to have wants and needs, work for resources, and appreciate opportunities to acquire and experience what life and the world has to offer. With my locs, I have moved through several seasons of life, and the ways the loc themselves have looked and felt, I am so grateful. They brought me closer to myself, closer to the earth, using natural and minimal products. I also realized that I tend to care for my appearance last at times. Time to change that. Gotta change. I'm ready for it, deeply. Ready to explore this next chapter, ready to craft my life, ready to apply my lessons and cultivate, nurture, harvest, utilize. Nurturing is also pruning, repotting, transplanting. Sometimes it is entirely tilling and setting the ground anew. So thank you for watching and for processing some of these concepts with me, and feel free to let me know about your journey and how this may, spark some ideas and perspectives you'd like to share. Take care. Until next time. Peace.